My son called me on the 4th of July, voice cracked and barely holding together. Mom, the cabin company says our reservation doesn't exist. There are no fireworks coming. And the shirts, they were never ordered. I sat in my rocking chair on the front porch and said, I know, sweetheart. I know. Let me take you back to how it all started. My name is Carol. I am 73 years old, and for 20 years I hosted the Weston family reunion at Lake Birch. Every July 4th weekend, without fail. My late husband Gerald and I started it the summer our youngest was born. We rented a little cabin on the water, dragged in 3 folding tables and a tangle of mismatched chairs, and ordered matching shirts with a silly family crest Gerald drew on a paper napkin after 2 glasses of wine. Back then, there were maybe 12 of us. My sister Ruth Ann, her husband, their girls. Gerald's brother, and his whole noisy crew. A couple of cousins who drove up from Ohio. The kids were small and got into everything, and someone always went home with grass-stained knees. Over the years, it grew. People put it on their calendars every January without being asked. Because it was there. Because they knew it would be there. At its peak, we had 37 family members under those pine trees. Kids catching fireflies at dusk. Adults arguing over horseshoes. Fireworks going off above the lake, while the little ones pressed their faces into their mother's shoulders. Gerald passed 6 years ago. I kept it going. Not because anyone asked. Not because I expected anything in return. Because I know what happens when the anchor goes. I have seen other families scatter. I was not going to let that happen to us. I never told anyone the full picture of what it cost. That was never the point. And that, I suppose, is exactly where the trouble began. My son Derek is a financial advisor. He has a good heart buried somewhere beneath about 3 inches of professional efficiency. After Gerald died, Derek decided I needed managing. Not in a cruel way. In the way of a man who genuinely cannot leave a problem alone. Last November, he sat me down at my kitchen table with a yellow legal pad and told me he was streamlining my finances. He had access to my accounts. I had added him years ago for real emergencies, and he had been quietly reviewing my recurring charges for weeks. He set the legal pad between us like it was evidence. Mom, you're paying $180 a month to a cabin rental company. There's $40 a month to a fireworks supplier. A clothing company. A bulk order account. What is all of this? I told him it was for the reunion. Deposits. Planning payments. Early orders that saved money when you booked in the off-season. He looked at me the way he looks at a line item that doesn't fit. Patient. Gently sorry for me. That's close to $3,000 a year. He said, for one long weekend. Yes. I said, that's about right. He wrote something on his yellow pad. I did not ask what. I would not have to wait long to find out. In January, I received a letter from Lake Birch Retreats. My annual cabin deposit had been declined. I already knew why. Derek had quietly canceled all of my auto-pay accounts. The cabin. The fireworks. The shirts. I found out because I checked. He had not told me. He had simply done it. I called him. He was calm and carefully apologetic in the way people are when they believe they are correct, and are simply waiting for you to come around. Mom, I looked at the full picture. You're spending nearly $3,000 a year on something the whole family should be splitting. It isn't fair to you. You're retired. Gerald would have wanted you to have more cushion, not less. Don't, I said, very quietly. He kept going. He said I was enabling the family's passivity. He said if people wanted a reunion, they were fully capable of organizing one themselves. He talked about my retirement savings and taking better care of myself. He said all the right things in entirely the wrong order. What I did not know yet was how long he had already been acting on those opinions before he ever sat down with me at that table. What he did not say was that he had made every one of these cancellations 3 weeks before our kitchen conversation. He had decided first and come to discuss afterward, as though those were the same thing. That settled into my chest like a stone dropped into still water. I did not argue. I asked him one question. Have you told anyone else about this? He said no. He had wanted to speak to me first. All right, I said. Let's see how it goes. He sounded relieved. He thought I had agreed with him. What I found in Gerald's desk drawer that evening changed everything I had planned to do next. Inside that drawer was the planning folder I had kept for 20 years. Cabin reservations with Gerald's handwriting in the margins. Shirt order confirmations. Food budgets. Fireworks receipts. A birthday card my granddaughter Maya had drawn at age 4 and pressed into my hand one evening by the lake. Photographs from the very first reunion, 2004, when everyone was younger and Gerald was standing at the water's edge with his hands on his hips, grinning at nothing in particular. 20 years of July 4th weekends. Every single one funded quietly by the same small payments Derek had erased with a few phone calls. Nobody in the family knew. Not Derek. Not my daughter-in-law Pamela. Not my grandchildren. Not Ruth Ann, who drove up from Tennessee every single year and always said, "Carol, I don't know how you pull this together." I just smiled. I never said, "I pay for it." I plan it. I book it every January before the rates go up. I sat at that desk until it was fully dark outside. Then I decided to let the summer come. I did not make a dramatic announcement. I simply did not replace what Derek had undone. I called Lake Birch Retreats, confirmed the cancellation politely, thanked the woman on the phone for 20 wonderful summers, and did not rebook. In June, Pamela called about the shirts. She coordinated our family colors every year, a job she had taken on with real quiet pride. When are you sending the shirt design to the company? She asked. They need 6 weeks at minimum. There are no shirts this year. I said. Did the company have a problem? I can track down another one. No. I said. The order wasn't placed. A pause. Do you want me to put something together? Let Derek handle it. I said warmly. He's taken over the finances now. He has everything under control. A longer silence. I let it sit there. My phone started ringing at 7 in the morning on the 4th of July. Pamela first. The cabin company had no Westin reservation on file. People were already on the road. My nephew Hank was 4 hours into a 9-hour drive from Georgia. Then Derek called. I let it ring twice before I answered. Mom. The cabin. There's no reservation. Did the confirmation get lost somewhere? Nothing was lost. I said gently. The deposit was declined in January. You canceled the autopay. Silence. I didn't realize the deadline was. I thought it renewed automatically in spring. It did renew automatically. I said, every January. Until you canceled it. By noon, 17 family members had redirected to Ruth Ann's backyard in Indianapolis because it was the only house large enough. I drove 40 minutes and arrived to find people scattered across the lawn with no tables, no chairs, no fireworks, 4 bags of gas station chips, and Ruth Ann standing at the back door with a pitcher of lemonade and the serene expression of a woman who has survived worse and will survive this too. Derek was by the fence with his phone, searching for any available cabin within 2 hours. There was nothing. Of course there wasn't. People book these things in January. My niece Becca sat down next to me after a while. She lowered her voice. Aunt Carol, were you the one who set all of this up every year? The cabin, the fireworks, all of it. For 20 years. I said. Since your uncle drew that crest on a paper napkin. She put her hand over her mouth. That piece of information moved through the backyard faster than the lemonade. By 2 o'clock, Derek had put his phone away and was sitting in the lawn chair beside me. He looked like a man who had just discovered he was the villain in a story he had believed he was the hero of. Why didn't you tell me? He said. You didn't ask. I said. You decided. Then you came to talk. Those aren't the same thing, Derek. He nodded slowly. Looked at his hands. I'm sorry, Mom. I know you are. I said. The kids found a garden hose, and that became the afternoon's entertainment. Someone ordered 3 large pizzas. Ruth Ann found sparklers in her garage from the previous year. We lit them at dusk. It was not Lake Birch. But it was family. And I let that be enough for 1 year. 2 weeks later, Derek sent an email to the whole family. He listed what I had been contributing every year. The cabin deposits. The fireworks. The shirts. A few things I had never mentioned to anyone, the extra folding chairs I rented so everyone fit, the sparklers for the children, the pie I ordered from a bakery 2 towns over and pretended every year that I had made myself. He proposed a family fund. Everyone contributes in January. He manages the account. We book Lake Birch again for next summer. He called it the Carol Weston Memorial Reunion Fund. I called him immediately. I told him I was 73 years old, not deceased, and we needed a different name. He laughed. A real unguarded laugh. The kind I had not heard from him in a long time. The new name is the Weston Lake Fund. My idea. His management. Our cabin. We are going back to Lake Birch next July. I have seen the confirmation email. Pamela is already working on the shirt design. She sent me 3 navy options, and I voted for the one with Gerald's original crest, drawn from memory. Hank says he is leaving Georgia a full day, early, so he is not rushed. I still sit on Gerald's old porch in the evenings and think about those 20 quiet years of small payments nobody noticed. 20 years of a tradition that felt, to everyone else, like it simply existed on its own. Nobody notices the water until it stops flowing. Tell me in the comments, have you ever been the one quietly holding everything together, and how long did it take for anyone to see it?